Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my anime review for Ultramarine Magmell, a new Netflix original anime series. It's a comic book adaptation from a manga, but Netflix have bought the rights to it, so now it's airing and streaming to 140 countries worldwide. Decades after the sudden birth of a new continent, a young rescuer for hire provides aid to adventurers exploring this dangerous new continent. So Netflix dropped 13 episodes, each 25 minutes long, and I've seen them, and I have to say I quite enjoyed it. I had no idea what to expect when I first went into this. I saw the poster for the anime and it had this guy that was like powered up, and I thought, oh, it's going to be one of those, but it wasn't at all. Basically, this reminds me of Hunter x Hunter. It's the sort of exploration adventure anime series where you get your heroes, your protagonist, and they go into this world with creatures and creations and things that you don't know what's going to happen, and it kind of dives straight into this new continent, this new world. I really like it when anime do that. They don't spend loads of episodes trying to explain to you what this new world is that you have to learn, what it is about. Instead, they drop you smack bang into this world. It's been 35 years since this new continent, Magmell, has appeared out of nowhere, and as each episode goes, you get to experience more of what this world is about. The story centers on Inyo. He's a rescuer. There's all these people that go and explore this new continent because it holds all sorts of riches and vastness of medical properties, and humans want to go in there and tap those resources because they want to get rich, or they just want to explore, or they're hunters themselves. But what they find out that in this new continent there are creatures of all sorts that make it really hard for you to survive in this land. It's very deceptive. So where in one place there might be some nice beautiful flowers, but that could just mean that it's a trap. And it's very interesting to see some of the creations of this anime. You have these crab creatures that control the mind of a person and kind of lure you in. These creatures are quite smart. You also have mutations where humans can turn into some of these creatures, and you really never really understand what is going on in this world. It just gives you little bits as the story centers around Inyo and his kind of apprentice or lady that he's looking after, who's either known as Zero, or I'm not going to spoil anything about her past, because the main arc of the story, which you get a little bit at the beginning of this anime, centers around their relationship, centers around Inyo, and a little bit about his master and how he became this rescuer and how Zero came to be with him. And then you get these episodic storylines where he's going into Magmell and rescuing people that find themselves in trouble. People come to him and use him as a business. He pretends not to want to do it as a when people ask him, please help me, he pretends that he just doesn't like helping people, he only do it for money. But as his characters develop, you see what makes him tick, and I quite like that about this anime. At the same time, I would have liked a bit more arc. A lot of the story centers around him going into this continent, which is very interesting. It centers around him rescuing people, and then really the last few episodes there is an arc that comes into play, and I think it completes it. There's a complete story, so it doesn't leave on a massive cliffhanger, but it does leave you with unanswered questions as to who really was Inyo's master. You get to see a little bit about him, what this continent is about. There's a lot more if this series does well, and I believe there's more manga or comics as well for them to adapt. If this does well with Netflix, which I imagine it might do, then we'll get more series. I hope we do, because the established 13 episodes that we get from this is quite a lot of fun. The action sequences, you can see where they've spent their money in most of the episodes. When there is action, I like what they do. Inyo has this weird power where he can control he can manifest things similar to what a Green Lantern does, where he has a power. He manifests these different shapes, swords and guns and giant fists, and that's a lot of fun to see what he's going to create. I hope they go into that and they use that more and they explain about that in future series. But for what we see between him and Zero, she helps him to see the land through her robotic eye, and and the powers he has, you never quite understand the extent of his powers. It does seem like in certain episodes he's more powerful than other episodes, and you know, at the beginning it was nice to see a character that wasn't underpowered, that he came in and rescued people and he had that power, and then you saw how much stronger the other creatures are in this anime, and you go, wow, maybe he is a little bit underpowered and he's got some ways to go. And I think that's a lot of fun, because you can't have a protagonist that's just overbearingly powerful. Well, you can. One Punch Man shows that, but you have to have a really good story with that. This, it feels like he's strong, but as he develops into this world, he becomes more interesting to watch, I think. I don't think the story is really fleshed out enough in this anime. I enjoyed it, but I would have liked a little bit more. And I also think that it's a little bit light. For the actual story, I think they could have given us a little bit more. I think maybe we could have had a few more protagonists come along. There are those kind of side characters that you get to meet that are a lot of fun to see, but I think they could have been used a bit more. I liked what they did with the story, but I'm really looking forward to having explained what this continent actually is, to go into the history. It reminded me, like I said, a lot of Hunter x Hunter, that kind of where Gon has this relationship with his father. Well, he doesn't, but he wants to know who his father is, and you kind of have that with Inyo and his master. At the same time, there's a very interesting storyline with Zero, and you kind of want to know, who is she, what is she. I think they're going to play that into the subsequent episodes or series. Hopefully we'll get more, we won't have to wait ages, and they will give us more of this series. This was one of the lineups that Netflix released, told us about in the Anime Expo recently, that and something Cannon Busters. So I'm hoping that they keep going along this route, because I enjoyed Cannon Busters, I enjoyed Ultramarine, but I'm hoping that they're going to go deeper into storyline and character development, because I felt like it was a little bit light in this one. Thought this was solid, so I'm going to give it a B+. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this series. Thanks so much for watching my review. If you enjoy my content, consider subscribing and maybe hitting the join button if you want some of those extra behind the scenes content and short films. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.